Good afternoon, everyone. Month of Kislev, the month of light, the third month of the year from Tishrei, a month which is very, very powerful in the sense that it gives us the opportunity to be able to tap in and unveil our true self. Rosh Chodesh Kislev, we celebrated the liberation, so to say, the refuah shlema, the complete healing of the Rebbe. Afterwards, we went to Yud Kislev, which was the liberation of the second Lubavitcher Rebbe. We went Yud Dalet Kislev, celebrating the marriage of the Rebbe. And then Yud Tet Kislev, the liberation of the Alter Rebbe from jail and the permission for Chassidut, for the teachings of Chassidus to be spread in the world, especially Chassidus Chabad. And now we're coming to the Festival of Lights, the holiday of Chanukah, another holiday where the Jewish people were spiritually imprisoned and revealed and were able to, Baruch Hashem, be freed. So today's theme is how to unveil your inner self. Every one of us has a potential. Every one of us goes through some type of difficulty, starting with the fact that the neshama, the soul, comes down into the confinement of a physical body. And within the confinement of this physical body, we are far from the revelation of God. And as it says in chapter 36 in Tanya, the purpose is to actually be able to acquire a certain strength and independence that we would not have if God was revealed. We all understand that when one is next to his father, when one is next to his mother, is living at home, there's a certain comfort, there's a certain ease to be yourself, to do whatever you see, whatever you're told. You live in an environment that is comfortable, so to say. And in that sense, it is not a place of great personal growth. When is a place of personal growth? Is when you are away. The Talmud teaches us that one should exile himself to a place of Torah. Because when you are far away, then it's no longer the father and mother, the household, which is looking at you, the community and your friends. You have to make your own decisions. If you make a bad decision, you live the consequence of your actions. If you make a good decision, well, the merit is your own. You acquire a new level of personal growth that you didn't have before. So in that sense, there's two things that are happening at the same time. On one hand, I'm far away from Hashem. I'm far away from my source of life, from the light of the neshama, the way it is connected to God in an obvious, revealed way. On the other hand, I am becoming independent. The person is in a true making. You're making yourself real. What you have is yours. We know that the Rebbe explains in a Maimer, in a Hasidic discourse called Tfilah Moshe. The Rebbe says that there are three levels, three dimensions in the brain. Chabad, Chokhmah, wisdom, Bina, understanding. They really form one category together. And then there is Da'at, Das. What is the difference exactly? Chokhmah and Bina means I have wisdom. I could have great epiphanies, great ideas, a seminal idea which is fantastic, which is great. But then there is the development of this idea. I could develop the idea to a great extent. Does that mean that I'm smart? Does that mean that I'm rich in knowledge? No. Is it possible that I know a lot and really I know nothing? Yes. Why? Because today, with my idea, the seminal idea I have, and the way it's been developed, I can start giving you my whole theory from beginning to end. And you're going to come to me and say, but doesn't it say this over there? Or isn't it better like this or like that? And you're going to give me an argument, and suddenly the whole foundation of my way of thinking has been now reduced to dust, to nothingness. Why? Because it's not my own. It's just ideas in my head that I received from somebody else, but I never integrated myself. I was never challenged. And when I'm not challenged, what's happening is that I find myself in a state that theoretically everything sounds great till you get tested, till you get challenged. What is that? That is acquiring the knowledge and making that knowledge is my own knowledge. What is knowledge? What is that? Or we would say in American, what's that? What is that? That is not only clarity as a result of a perfect union between my seminal idea and the way I developed it. It's the fact that it's now my own, it's acquired, it's me, it's become a part of who I am and what I represent. How do you call that in the modern world? I'd like to share with you a story. That happened in the 1700s. There was a doctor by the name of Dr. Claad. Dr. Claad was making a study about memory loss. We know what we say about memory loss, right? Yeah, me. Forget about it. So, about memory loss, an individual had a very big problem of short memory loss. Dr. Claad came to see him and said, "Hi, my name is Dr. Claad. My pleasure. Pleasure to meet you." The doctor left the room. After 5 minutes, came back and said, "Hi, do you remember me?" "I'm sorry, I never met you before." "What do you mean?" "I'm Dr. Claad." "Oh, my pleasure." And again, he shook the doctor's hand. And this happened over and over 10 times, and each time the person would forget and remember. This time the doctor decided to do something a little different. The doctor put a little needle between his fingers. "Hi, do you remember me?" "No, my name is Dr. Claad." "Ouch!" Okay. The doctor leaves the room, comes back in the room without the needle this time, and said, "Do you remember me?" "So I've never seen you before, I'm sorry." "My name is Dr. Claad." He puts out his hand, the person puts their hands back, doesn't want to shake their hand. So here we have a phenomenon which is a great paradox. On one hand, you don't remember who I am, but you remember you had a bad experience with me. You know anybody like that? What does that mean? So he explained, he came to the conclusion that there are 2 dimensions in memory. There is the memory of an emotion. I remember how I felt. And then there is what we call an emotional memory. it's not touching only the data place of the brain, where I just have the knowledge of 1 + 1 is 2 and this happened and that happened, but it's already touching the level of the brain which is connected to the emotion. In intelligence, it's the same thing. There is intellectual intelligence, and then there is emotional intelligence. And that's why when we look in the Tzemach Tzedek and Mitzvat Shoresh Mitzvat Atfilah, when we speak about prayer, and it talks about that, it refers to that as Maftecha Deshit, the key of the 6 emotions. Why? Because that is that level of the brain which is connected to the emotions. That's why in our tefillin we have 4 boxes. We have 4 parashiot in our tefillin. The 4 boxes we have Kadesh li kol bechor, Ve'haya ki eviacha, which represent, according to Chassidus and Kabbalah, as it states in Chapter 41 in Tanya, Chokhmah, wisdom, and Bina. But we have another 2 parashiot, Shema Yisrael ve'ahavta, and Ve'hayim Shamoa, which is the chapters that speaks about the love and the fear of Hashem. So here we have something very particular. We have on top of our head 4 boxes, 2 which represent the intellect, and 2 which represent the emotion. They cover the head and go in the back of the brain and go down where the heart is. Why? Because this is referring to both the intellectual part of the brain and the emotional part of the brain, from which comes dat. From the dat comes chesed and gvura, the love and the fear of Hashem. I remember when I was in school, I was 11 years old. I had a teacher which his name was Mr. Davidson. Why do I remember Mr. Davidson? Why in the world? I'm 53 today. Why would I remember my teacher from when I was 11? And if Mr. Davidson is listening, I'd love for him to listen, if he's still alive. Because Mr. Davidson embarrassed me in front of the whole class. He said in front of the whole class, Amar, you're small. Bing! In front of the whole class. That's the only thing I remember from my youth in school. How come? I remember a few other things. Because that didn't touch my intellect. It wasn't another piece of knowledge. It was a knowledge that had to deal with something which was personal to me. And because it touched my emotions, it was really personal, then it's an emotional memory. It's an emotional intelligence that's been touched in such a way that it will stay with me. My teacher once, my mashpia of blessed memory, once said, somebody asked him, how does he remember all the discourses that the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, and when the Rebbe spoke about this, and when the Rebbe spoke about that, and when it contradicts itself, and this? I asked him, how it's mind-boggling, the memory that you have. And he answered the following. He says, a person remembers what makes him emotionally enthusiastic, what awakens his emotions and makes him excited, he remembers. Everything I study from the Rebbe excites me and turns me on. That's how he remembers everything. It's the level of Torah which is mentioned in Likutei Torah Parashat Kedoshim, where the Alter Rebbe speaks about memory in Torah and says and quotes King Solomon, Shlomo HaMelech, who says, "Ve'katuv chakuk al luach libecha," it's carved on your heart. The Torah is carved on your heart. What does it say in your brain? Why in your heart? Because you need to have skin in the game. You need to feel it's yours. When you toil in Torah, when you toil in something, when you have a challenge, when you have a question that bothers you in your Torah study, for example, what happens? You research the subject and you go to this book and that book and so on, and you can't sleep at night and you wake up early in the morning and you discuss it with this one, you discuss it with that one. At the end, what happens? You know the topic in and out and you can quote all the references. I don't understand. You said you had a mind that was like a sifter, right? That everything comes in, goes out, and you forget everything. How come this time you didn't forget? Because it's nogea. It touches me, it's talking to me. It's my victory, it's my emotions, it's my involvement. I got skin in the game. And that is something which is very powerful in particular. This is the moment we say we have that. When is my knowledge my knowledge? When it's been questioned, when it's been challenged, when I had to overcome obstacles and I had to exert my inner power in order to make it mine. You don't acquire something with no effort. Right? Yagata umatzata ta'amin. That's what the Gemara in Megillah, in one of the 12 psukim, the 12 verses that the Rabbi insisted we all know by heart, is if a person says, I toiled and I didn't find, don't believe him. If he says, I didn't toil and I found, don't believe him. I toiled and I found, and it doesn't say, the Rabbi explains, it doesn't say I toiled and I succeeded, but rather I toiled and I found. What do you mean I found? Well, you find something which you didn't expect to find. When you toil, when you make that effort, at that moment you will get something, a treasure that is much greater than what you expect, what you expected at the beginning. You didn't expect this. And the truth of the matter is, when you toil, what you really discover is yourself, is your true self. Unveiling your true self is actually going through a state where you are in a state of discomfort, and that state of discomfort brings you to a level of what we call merirut. Merirut, translated loosely as bitterness. One of the Hasidim once came to the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Tzemach Tzedek said, by Hasidim we say that sadness, depression is isur, it's prohibited. It's a prohibition of the Torah to be sad and depressed. But bitterness is encouraged. How would you translate the word bitterness? Translate the word bitterness by the word frustration. What is the difference, he asked. I forgot if it's the Tzemach Tzedek or another Chassid which explained the difference. He said, after depression and sadness, what does a person do? He goes under his covers and he goes to sleep. Today, he goes in his phone and social media and wastes 10 hours. What happens when a person is frustrated? He never wants to go in that situation again. It pushes him forward to action, to do something that's going to be out of his comfort zone. I don't want to be the man, the person that did what I did. I want to get out of this comfort zone to really discover myself. And that's why the Talmud of Psachim, on page 117, over there talks about Shoshanim. It says over there that a person that is going to acquire Torah, right, is a person that is going to have a bitterness, a bitter taste in his mouth. What's the bitter taste? But sometimes you want to go to lunch. You want to go and take care of your own needs. You want to have fun. And instead, you chose to give that extra 5 minutes to really understand that halakha and the Rambam, that law in the Maimonides, or that Rashi on the Chumash, or to finish that Tilim of the day in the morning, where everybody's already at breakfast. that effort, which is bitter, that is going to get you somewhere. That will open up a place in you that you didn't know you were yourself aware about. There's a rabbi, we wish him well and a long life. It's very special chassid of the Rebbe by the name of Rabbi Nissen Mangal. And this rabbi, this chassid, really inspired me very, very much with a story. The story is that as a young man, he came to see the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him to spread Chassidus wherever he goes. But moreover, the Rebbe had asked him to finish the great Sefer, the great book of Likutei Torah, the teachings of the Alter Rebbe on the Parsha known as the Chassidische Parsha. The Rebbe asked him, do you finish it every Shabbat? Every Shabbat, there's the portion of that Shabbat for the Hasidic discourse that develops different subjects of the Parsha according to Hasidus, Kabbalah, and intertwining with an extraordinary tapestry of commentaries. Mind you, I once did it, and I really wanted to stand on the Parsha. And if you look at a Likutei Torah, maybe somebody can bring me one. A Likutei Torah is a very small writing. And in one Parsha, each page has 4 columns. 4 columns. So you have one, the recto verso, the one side has 2 columns, the other side has another 2 columns. So, thank you very much. God bless you. So, for example, in Parshas Bamidbar, just the weekly Parsha, you could see here, those who are watching, this is just one page. One side of one page. Sorry. One side of one page. And then you have the other side of one page. So this is one page, 4 columns. Parshas Bamidbar alone has 20 of these pages, which means 80 columns of Chassidus. I once tried to start counting the references. I think just in Parshas Bamidbar, there's about 500 references across the board, from the Zohar, the Chumash, the other Ma'amarim of Chassidus, and the Talmud, the Midrash. Every part of the Torah has been touched. As the Rebbe Rashab refers to this book as being Sefer HaSfarim, the book of all books. So here, Rabbi Mangal is told by the Rebbe, I want you to learn the Parsha every week and finish it by the end of the week. So I did it. I did it myself. I read through it. Likutei Torah. And the Rebbe insisted that it should be finished before Shabbat.
The Rebbe?
Yeah. The Rebbe insisted to Rabbi Mangal it should be finished before Shabbat. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there.
Was this in addition to Chitas?
This is in addition to Chitas. The Rebbe Bichlal said we should all finish Likutei Torah.
And then he would do the Parsha.
Yeah. So what happens is you finish the Chassidische Parsha every week. So I did it myself. I want to tell you, I was traveling for weddings and everything. I would photocopy the Likutei Torah, and every minute I had free, I was learning it in order to finish it by Shabbat.
You still do it?
And I wish. So I did it once.
Oh, you finished the whole Parsha?
Almost. Yes, almost. So what happened is it was very exciting. Very, 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 very. First of all, I found that I had the time that I had, every minute was used for this. So I had a goal, I have a purpose, I have a goal, I know where I'm going, I need to finish it. So it was on my first priority. But that is still easy. The Rebbe asked Rabbi Mengel that he needs to learn the Likutei Torah of the week every week 5 times.
Why 5 times?
Because the Rebbe insisted that it should be learned and known perfectly.
When do you do these 5 times?
We'll ask questions after, if you don't mind. So, the Rebbe is asking him this. So you can imagine this young man. I saw what it takes to learn it 1 time at my level. Here he's asking to learn 5 times. You multiply 5 times 80 columns. How much columns is that? 400 columns. Right? And it's small writing. You saw what I'm talking about. What really touched me very much is at the end he said, I did it, and there were weeks where I did not make Havdalah till the next Tuesday after, because till Tuesday it's still connected to the previous Shabbat. And like this, it would be included in me learning the Parsha, Sashavua, the Chassidische Parsha 5 times before, and still included in the past Shabbat. It was very difficult. He really exerted himself. Sometimes he would sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning to be able to make it happen. 1 second. And what happened? What happened is that he said at the end, and this is the line that really got me in my kishkes, they say. He said, the Rebbe saw a capacity in me that I did not see in myself. That, by the way, is the role of the Rebbe. When somebody asks me what is a Rebbe, I say a Rebbe is a magnifying mirror that shows you what is inside of you and where you can reach, where you can get. And that's what he said. Sometimes, because we live in America and things are so easy, you have fast food. What's fast food? I need my food right away. So it's fast food, right? We have fast connection on the internet because we have no patience. We have the fast lane on the road because we need to go quickly where we need to go. I agree we should not waste time. But there's this concept that everything that we need to acquire in the world is fast. Yosef HaTzadik did not become Yosef HaTzadik fast. He went through troubles and tribulations, through the hatred of his brothers, to losing his mother at the age of 9, through his father thinking he was dead, through being seduced by the wife of his boss, and resist to be afterwards 10 years in prison, jail, and then another 2 years, to finally find himself viceroy, prime minister of finance of the whole world. Tzaddik, Yosef HaTzadik, a righteous man. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight for anybody. This is the result of toil, of work. The Alter Rebbe, when he was in jail, the Rebbe explains in a Sikha that Ma Hazais Hazeh, it says in the Midrash, concerning the olive, the Jewish people are compared to olives. When you crush them, you get the best out of them, the best, you get the oil. So the Alter Rebbe, when he was in jail, the Rebbe explains, the olive, there's the state of the olive when it's a food, you can eat the olive. There's the state of the olive when after it's crushed, it becomes olive oil. And then you have the olive when it's imprisoned under the weight of the stone which is crushing it to extract the oil. At this moment, it's not here, nor there. For 53 days, the Alter Rebbe had to go through this state, which is this intermediate state, which is a state of ultimate transformation. And from there, Hasidus will spread. And it takes time. And then there's a Mittler Rebbe, and then a Tzemach Tzedek, then there's a Rebbe Maharaj, then there's a Rebbe Rashab, there's a Friedrich Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, which will take already Hasidus to another level, and then you have the Rebbe, which takes it to another level altogether and reveals the essence of everything that was given beforehand. But even more so in the last 30 years that we have not seen the Rebbe than when we saw the Rebbe physically with our eyes. The process is a process, a lifetime process. Unveiling your true self is not a quick fix. It's the avodah, which is derech arucha uktzara, the long and short way. It's a long path, but it is your path. It is a long path, but it's what you've acquired and what you have become in the most honest way. And therefore, when we have challenges and ups and downs, and sometimes we fall, sometimes we get up, sometimes we don't get up right away. Chassidus is that part of Torah which is talking to the quintessence of the Jew, who is, it gives him the strength to be able to get out of that comfort zone, to overcome the discomfort, and to become truly who you can become. That's why I wrote a book, and I thought that Shakespeare's question, to be or not to be, was a foolish question, because that's not a Jewish question. And I think the Jewish question is to be or to become. Do you want to become? What do you want to become? Once you set in your mind what you want to become, know that it's a question of the rituals that you are going to repeat. The rituals that you are going to practice day in and day out, Chitas, Rambam, Hayoim Yoim, learning Chassidus every day, davening, thinking the words of Chassidus, reviewing what you have learned, discussing it with somebody, living with it, sleeping with it, eating with it, waking up with it. That is what reveals your true self and makes you strong. I would like to conclude with a story. This is a story, one of my favorite stories. This is a story. One day, I found myself, everywhere I go with my tefillin. And I was in one of the buildings in Aventura in front of a elevator. And I saw a young man, 20 years old. What's your name? Jacob. Are you Jewish? Yes. Okay, that's 1 out of 2. Did you put on tefillin today? No. Okay. 2 out of 2. Question number 3. Would you like to put on tefillin? I happen to have my tefillin with me. And he said yes. So we decided to go on the side. We put on tefillin. We became friendly, and I would go to his office to put on tefillin. And here I find myself in front of this young man. And see, he has an office. He seems to be well-to-do. He's 20 years old. Jacob, what do you do for a living? I'm an international trader. I said, I'm sorry? An international trader? What is that? He tells me, very simple. An international trader is somebody that knows that this country has a surplus of bananas. Another country needs bananas. So let's not go bananas. I'm here to make the shidduch, the match between the two countries. And guess what? I get a nice hefty commission from both countries. Same thing with cotton, same thing with lead, same thing with different things. I look at him and say, Jacob, how old are you? 20. Where are you born? Miami. Where did you grow up? Miami. Where did you study? Miami. Jacob, it doesn't make sense to me. Every person that I know that's 20 years old in Miami is dancing in some club, running after other pleasures of life, and having fun going on crazy vacations and bachelor parties and who knows what. Don't tell me how is it possible that a Miami boy has become an international trader making millions of dollars. I'm not talking today in 2024, soon 25, talking about in 2009, 2010, where making millions of dollars is significant. Today, it's just buckets. So he tells me the following story. He tells me that when he was 14 years old, next door to his house, moved in a 60-year-old single man which had vintage cars. And every day, he would come back from school, take a chair, and sit next to this man, look at him polish his cars, spray the wheels, make it nice, You have a vintage car that's worth a lot of money, you want to take good care of it. And I said to the man, he tells me, one day I'll have a car like this myself. The man asked me, and how are you going to do it? I told him, I'm going to make money. He said, how are you going to do that? I'll be rich. And he tells him afterwards, how are you going to be rich? Do you have a plan? And I looked at him as a 14-year-old and I told him, what is a plan? For the next 6 months, this individual, every day I would go to his house for 20 minutes. He would teach me how to make a business plan. If by 20 years old you want to reach this and this, then today at 14, you need to start doing this ritual every day. You need to learn about this. And you need to stop doing that. So slowly, and by 15, this is what you need to do. And by 16, this is what you need to do, and so on and so forth. My friends didn't have a plan for their life. Life had a plan for them, and they're wasting their time. Today, they don't even know where they're going and what they're doing. I had a plan which was clear for my life. So every day when they called me here or there, I'm sorry, I did not fulfill my portion of today. In Torah life, it's the same way. You want to unveil your inner self, it starts with having a ritual that you repeat daily. Chumash, Tanya, Tehillim, Rambam. There's a young boy some 10, 15 years ago which finished the whole Talmud, completed the study of the whole Talmud, a certain Zirkin. And he was 20 years old when he finished. I remember reading the article, and I was really curious. It was a big celebration in the yeshiva. How did he do it? He said the following. He said, I had no intention to finish the Talmud. I just went to sleep on time every day. At 10 p.m. I was in my bed. You see, we don't have a problem waking up. We have a problem going to sleep on time. The big problem is the waste of time, the hours spent on this stupid device, the smartphone that made humanity stupid. So what happens? I went to sleep on time, I woke up early, and I spent an hour studying. Whatever I was able to study in that hour and understanding what I'm studying, I studied. Next thing you know, I finished one Masechet, one tractate of the Talmud. Then another one. Then another one. Next thing you know, I turn around, I finish the whole Talmud. You want to unveil your true self? Have a clear goal. Have a plan. Follow the plan. 10 minutes at a time. Follow your plan. And you will get there. God bless you.